Amara wandered through the silent hall of the mansion. Step by step, she drew closer to her mother-in-law's room. With trembling hands, she pushed the door open, and what she saw. There are rich men in the city, but none as rich as Michael Okafor. People whispered about him in harsh tones, and when his name was mentioned in business circles, heads turned. Michael wasn't just wealthy, he was the definition of affluence. His empire spanned across industries, real estate, fashion labels, nightclubs, and tech companies. His face appeared in international magazines, and his lifestyle was the kind that made even billionaires raise their brows. Michael had fleets of cars, Rolls-Royce, Phantoms in silver and black, Lamborghini, and a private jet painted in gold and white that bore his initials MO. He travels between Dubai, London, Paris, and Lagos like they were his main neighborhood. His wardrobe was a sea of designer labels. He was a permanent figure at high-profile clubs, parties, and charity galas. Women chased him, men envied him, and the media worshipped him. But Michael's wealth wasn't ordinary. Behind the glamour, behind the tailored suits and wild smile, there was something strange about the way his fortune never seems to dry up, no matter the economic downfall. He was untouchable. Far away in a modest part of the town lived Amara Nwosu. She wasn't born rich, but she carried herself like someone who believed she was meant for a life of glitters. Her father was a civil servant, her mother a petty trader. Their family lived comfortably, but without luxury, yet Amara never felt satisfied. From her teenage years, she had an obsession with big life. The cars, the flashy clothes, the endless flow of money. She would stare at Instagram pages of wealthy influencers and sign. She promised herself that she would never end up like her mother, selling in the market. Amara was beautiful, tall, light-skinned, with a captivating smile and an adventurous spirit. Men flocked around her, many proposing relationship, some promising marriage. But Amara wasn't impressed with ordinary men. She wanted someone who could change her wardrobe, fly her abroad, and flood her with diamonds. At the time, however, she was dating Chike, a humble young man who worked as a manager in one of Michael's luxury clubs. Chike wasn't poor. He lived in a nice two-bedroom apartment, drove a Toyota Camry, and had ambition of rising in life. He loved Amara deeply and always spoke of their future together. Marriage, children, and building a family. Chike's love was real, but Amara was shaky. She cared for him, yes, but she wasn't blind to the fact that his money wasn't loud enough. She admired him when he pays their bill at restaurants, but her heart longed for the kind of life she saw in glossy magazines. The turning point came one Saturday night. The club was booming with life, flashy lights, expensive champagne bottles being popped on VIP tables. Amara sat with Chike, but her eyes wandered. That was the first night she saw Michael Okafor in person. Michael walked into the club with his entourage, bodyguards clearing the path. Women screamed at the sight of him. He wore a white suit that glitters under the club lights, his wrists adorned with a diamond watch that could buy 3 houses. Amara froze. She had seen him online, but seeing him live was different. He was the life of the party, spraying dollars on the dancers, laughing loudly and moving like a king among men. When their eyes met across the room, Amara felt her heart skipped. Michael smiled, raising his glass slightly at her. That night, she couldn't concentrate on Chike. She watched Michael, the way people worshipped him, the way his money flows. In her heart, a dangerous seed was planted. Days later, Michael approached her. It started with a casual compliment, then an invitation to his table, then his private cars. Before long, Amara was swept into his world. Dinner at 5-star hotels, trips to other countries, gifts that left her speechless. Chike noticed the change. He confronted her, begged her not to leave him, promised that he would grow and they would build their empire together. But Amara's mind was already made up. She dumped him coldly, trading his steady love for Michael's blazing wealth. Chike was heartbroken. Not only had he lost his girlfriend, but soon after, Michael fired him from the club. A silent warning never to cross his path again. For Amara, life became a fairy tale. She moved into Chike's mansion, a palace with marble tiles, chandeliers imported from Italy, and rooms bigger than her parents' entire house. She wore diamonds, drove luxury cars, and traveled on private jets. After months of dating, Michael proposed with a diamond ring that sparks like the sun. The wedding was the talk of the city. Celebrities, politicians, and foreign dignitaries attended. Amara, in her flowing white gown, felt she had finally arrived. She had chosen wisely, she told herself. She was no longer the daughter of a petty trader. She was now the wife of the richest man in the city. 2 weeks after the wedding, Michael's mother, Madame Teresa, moved into the mansion. She was an elderly but strong woman with sharp eyes that seemed to pierce the soul. From the first day, Amara felt unease. Michael became strangely detached after his mother arrived. He no longer gave Amara the attention he once did. Every night, he spent more and more time in his mother's quarter. Amara complained, but Michael dismissed her. "My mother has always lived with me. She will continue to live here," he said firmly. One night, Amara woke at midnight and noticed her husband wasn't beside her. Curious, she walked through the mansion, her feet tapping against the marble floor. When she reached the mother's room, she froze. Through the slight open door, she saw Michael and his mother lying on the same bed. Her husband was sleeping with his mother. A cold shiver ran through her body. She screamed. Michael and Teresa rushed out, grabbing her before she could escape. That night, Amara's world collapsed. She realized the horrifying truth. Michael's wealth came at a price. He was bound to his mother in a dark covenant, one that demands unnatural intimacy. From there on, Amara's life became hell. She was trapped in the mansion, tortured physically and emotionally. Michael and his mother warned her never to reveal what she had seen. They beat her severely, starved her, and turned her into a servant in her own house. She watched helplessly as Michael renewed his bond with his mother every month, keeping his wealth intact. The mansion that once felt like paradise became a golden prison. Amara plotted escape. Once, she tried to poison Michael, but Teresa caught her. Another time, she fought Teresa in a range and the woman collapsed, gasping for air, but Michael arrived in time, dragging Amara away and beating her until she could barely move. Finally, one night, fate gave her a chance. Teresa fell asleep heavily after drinking wine. Michael was away on a business trip. Quickly, Amara packed a small bag, tiptoed past the sleeping woman and ran into the night. Amara ran barefooted into the night, her heart pounding like a drum. She didn't know where she was going, only that she had to get away. The mansion, with its golden gates, had become a prison. Each chandelier nothing but cruel reminder of her chains. Hours later, exhausted and trembling, she found herself in a small hospital on the outskirts of the town. Her clothes were torn, her face swollen from beating, but her voice was still strong with desperation. She told the doctors everything. She told them about Michael's will, about the mother he shared his bed with, about the dark covenant that tied his fortune on an abomination. She spoke quickly, her eyes wild with fear, her voice trembling with urgency. But instead of sympathy, she met disbelief. The doctors exchanged glances, whispered among themselves. Nurse looked at her with pity. To them, her story was madness, the hallucination of a broken woman escaping abuse. By the next morning, Amara was transferred to a psychiatric hospital. They said she was delusional. They said her trauma has created fantasy too wild to be real. Days in the psychiatric hospital turned into weeks. Amara was given drugs, endless pills that make her weak and have heavy eyes. At night, she dreamed of Michael's mansion, of Teresa's piercing eyes, of hands gripping her neck, of the cruel laughter that followed her whenever she tries to run. She would wake up screaming, drenched in sweat, but the nurses would only shake their heads and inject her with drugs. Over time, her voice grew weaker. No one believes her. Each time she tries to speak her truth, people smile sadly and told her to rest. Gradually, the fire inside her dimmed. By the 4th month, Amara stopped talking. Her voice felt useless, her truth a curse. She sat for hours staring at the wall, trapped between her memories and the silence of her new world. The girl who once dreamed of diamond and private jets had become a hollowed shell, mute and broken. While Amara faded, life outside the hospital moved on. Chike, her ex-boyfriend, had found fortune in surprising ways. After losing his job at Michael's club, he worked tirelessly until he secured employment in a multinational oil company. His diligence and honesty won him promotions, and soon he was living the life he once dreamed with Amara. He married a kind woman, one who truly loved him without condition. Together, they built a home filled with warm laughter and children. Chike's wealth grew steadily, but unlike Michael, his riches were clean. His joy was real. Michael, on the other hand, never stopped. His empire flourished. His parties remained wild, his money unending. Amara's disappearance didn't bother him. To him, she was just one among many. Soon enough, he found another young woman, dazzling her with diamond, and the circle began again. To the world, Michael was still the king of wealth. No one saw the darkness behind his power. After nearly a year in the psychiatric hospital, Amara was discharged. The doctors wrote in her file, "Improved, though trauma remains." She left the hospital with nothing. No family waiting, no home to return to. Her parents had distanced themselves, ashamed of the rumors surrounding her. Alone, with only the clothes on her back, she wandered the streets. One afternoon, fate brought her face to face with Chike. He was stepping out of his black SUV when he noticed a frail figure on the roadside. He almost didn't recognize her at first. Gone was the glamorous, confident Amara he once loved. In her place stood a tiny, pale woman with stunned eyes, her beauty faded by suffering. "Amara," Chike whispered, shocked, trembled as she told him her story again. The mansion, the murder, the secret covenant. For the first time in years, someone listened without cutting her short. Chike's eyes filled with pity. He believed her. Deep down, something in her broken voice told him she wasn't lying. But what could he do? Michael was untouchable, a giant with a power beyond measure. He signed heavily, placing some money in her hand. "Amara, you must let it go. You can't fight him. Use this money. Start again. Please, just try to live." Amara nodded slowly. For the first time, tears ran freely down her cheek. She wept. She whispered a faint thank you and walked away. She lived quietly, far away from the noise of the city. Though her mind never fully healed, she carried within her the wisdom of pain. Chike's laughter filled his home. Michael's money flowed endlessly. The world moved on as if nothing had happened. But in the quiet of her solitude, Amara whispered to herself the truth that no one believed. Not all that glitters is gold. Some gold burns. Thank you for watching our story. Please subscribe, like and follow this channel for more interesting stories. And don't forget to drop a comment. Thank you.